Welcome everyone to Neverwinter on PC. My name is Rainer and today we're going to answer a question that has been asked a lot. What should you do when you reach level 70? If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, and if you would like to see more information or videos about Neverwinter, hit the subscribe button. If you ask someone in-game what to do when you reach level 70, you most likely get many different answers. And all of them are probably correct. The game really just starts at level 70 and there are many things that you can do. So how can you decide what you should do? You need to have a goal for yourself. What do you want to do in the game? Do you want to do as much damage as you can? Do you want to be an efficient buffer? Do you want to tank the biggest bosses without taking much of a scratch? It is a little bit dependent on the class that you're playing already, but some classes have multiple ways to go. Another goal can be that you just want to casually play the game from time to time and don't care too much about being super efficient, or you just want to roleplay. There are also people that like to do that. All those questions determine basically what you should do exactly. There are a couple of things to do when you reach level 70. A couple, it's quite a list actually. You have to improve your gear. When you reach level 70, your gear is very weak for a level 70 character. You should work on refining your enchantments up to a decent level. You will need a lot of AD to work on your character, so you will need to find a source of income. Random queues is one of them, but there are more options. I've made an farming AD video and you can find many options in there. Find one that suits you, that you like. Don't burn out on getting AD, it's quite a lot of work. Next, you will need good companions for your character. You will need to get decent mounts for your character, which give the correct insignia bonuses. You will need to get power points for your powers and upgrade the right powers to rank 4. Now this has gotten quite a bit easier now that you get over levels. I think about 17 times as fast. So even my back tunes have quite a lot of power points right now. You will most likely need bonding runestones for your active companion, which you also need to refine up. You will need to get and upgrade a weapon and armor enchant. You will have to do the campaigns, which give you boons. Each separate boon isn't that big of a buff, but combine them and many small buffs make a big buff. And last but not least, if you haven't joined a guild yet, you should find a strong guild to run content with. As a starting level 70, it can be hard to find a party because people are looking a lot at item level and your item level will be quite low at this point. A good guild can help here. The list is very long, so where to start? Actually, if you're watching this video and you have that question, it might be a good idea to look up a build online that suits your goal. There are many websites and also content creators on YouTube that post how they build their character. If you look at their build, you have kind of a goal. Find a build that you like, that suits your goal, and then work on getting that same build. But beware, if you really just started out, this can take months or even years depending on your playtime, specific build and amount of luck. The first thing you should do when you reach level 70 is check your utility slots. You have a utility slot in your headgear, arm gear, feet gear, and if you have artifact gear, you also have them in your waist and neck. These utility slots should contain Dragonhorde enchantments, Quartermaster enchantments, and if you have these 5 slots, you should also slot in a Fey enchantment. Why is this so important? Well, You're going to need a lot of refinement points for your character, and you will want to spend as little as possible on these refinement points. These utility enchantments will generate a lot of refinement points from just playing the game. Actually, you should have slotted these enchantments even before you reach level 70. Maybe you're not level 70 yet, slot them as soon as you can. You can buy them in the auction house, and it's really, really good. The other quite important way to get refinement points is via a mount insignia bonus. This one. You need to get a mount that gives the Wanderer's Fortune bonus. There are some events that actually give a mount with Wanderer's Fortune for free. This Siege Griffin is from the Siege event, but also the Winter event gives a mount that has Wanderer's Fortune, and maybe the Summer event also, I'm not sure. There's also a way to buy a mount that gives Wanderer's Fortune for all your characters in your account. You can buy a Spider in the Zen store if you want. If you want to buy that, I would do that when there's a discount. It is worth it because it's for all your characters, even your back toons. If you have back toons and you don't want to do the event on all your toons, you can use that option. Make sure to get one of the mounts that gives this Wanderer's Fortune buff and slot insignias to actually activate the buff. The insignias don't have to be epic or rare. You can put uncommon here. It will do just fine at this stage, and they're extremely cheap to buy. You need a Crescent insignia, illuminated, and a regal insignia. If you don't have enough AD for getting your utility enchantments, Wanderer's Fortune or mount, do a random leveling queue. One will already give you quite a lot of AD. You should be able to buy most of the things that I just told you. Actually, at this point, definitely do one of these each day, and maybe also skirmish each day if you can. This is necessary to have a steady income of AD. Also, if you can, do some higher level epic trial. I don't think anyone does that. Here's a court. I think it's also very rare to do that randomly. People pre-group up for that one. But the skirmish dungeon and epic dungeon are possible to pug. Epic dungeon can be difficult, but there are going to be some changes in mod 14 on this, and the separation of queues is going to be a little bit better. With these random queues, you will get seals. Right now, Protectors, Seal of the Protector, and after mod 14, Seal of the Brave. With these seals, you can buy relatively good gear, actually. This gear is more than potent enough to start you off and work on the first campaigns that you will have to do. Especially the Seal of the Brave, you can get primal weapons which are actually endgame at the moment. And they're not too difficult to get when mod 14 hits. If you cannot wait on mod 14 for the weapons, you can buy Chult weapons right now. They are pretty cheap and do a good amount of damage for the earlier campaigns. You can find them under Equipment, Main Hands. Set this quality to Uncommon and make sure to add a weapon enhancement slot here, and it should be usable by you. If you select these, you will find all artifact weapons that you can use. As you can see here, these teak weapons, they're usually called. One thing to note here, if you buy these weapons, make sure to check the equip power Here it says stamina restored up to 40% depending on split shot hold time. Make sure and increase damage done by split strike by 10% and restore 10% stamina. They are different in here. Each equip power is different and the prices are relatively equal. Make sure to pick one that fits your build and the powers that you're going to use in your build. On Steamwork. Rapid shot is relatively often used. Let's see what I use rapid shot, for example. So in this case, I would probably want to buy this one. It is 2180 more, but I get the correct equip power directly instead of having to use AD for it. This can save you quite some AD along the road. So, and for the offhand, you can see here you need a Wood's Killige, I think it's called, offhand. You just do the same, it doesn't have a weapon enchantment slots, let's say offensive. And we have to search for this one a little bit more. Here it is, this one is 9k. And here, actually the same thing. You will have an artifact class feature and you will want to see that you get the best one for you, for your build. Right now I only have 3 options, but for you it might be different. Alright, so that's how you get your first weapons. Pretty important. If you have done Elemental Evil, you actually have a burning weapon, but chuck that one away and get these Chult weapons. They are a lot more potent. So next up, at this point you probably don't have a full set of companions yet, and the Con Artist is a very solid companion, which is even okay endgame, and you can get it for 4 gold at this, what's it called, Grand Emporium, near the bank. You go in here, you've been in here for a quest at the start, you go to this Emporium vendor, and he has a Con Artist for you. This Con Artist has some advantages. It has a strong debuff of 10%, and also what's really good about this companion is that it has 3 ring slots. So buy this one and make it your active companion. It is a good idea to start gearing your companion as soon as possible. Let's go out here because this guy is screaming all the time. Companions give a lot of strength, and bonding runestones have dropped quite a bit in price nowadays, as you can see here. Rank 7s are 46,000 AD. That seems a lot at start, but a couple of random queues will get you one of these, and make sure to get 3 of these as quick as possible. You can pick them up at the lowest rank 7, and just do weeklies and random queues to save up for this. It shouldn't take you that long. Within a week you should definitely have 3 of these. So we picked the Con Artist, as I said, for the 3 rings. Rings are very easy to get, and especially in the later mods often feature double offensive or double defensive depending on your build defensive slots, and their +4 is a lot easier to get than +5 rings. At this point double offensive is not required per se, but you should get 3 rings. Wait, let's just say +3 equipment, ring, search. Okay, that's not so good. Let's say 2 slots for a ring, and you will find quite some rings here. Don't go for the +1, try to go for... I didn't find +3 rings, that's interesting. Oh, I think +3 rings are not... You cannot sell them. Anyway, it doesn't matter that much what the stats of the rings are, because they're going on your companion, and the first equip bar you see, a +1 damage against hunts in Chult, for example, doesn't apply for companions, just the plain stats. and we're mostly interested in the enchantment slots. So just buy 3 rings, preferably the +2 rings, and put your highest enchantments in these slots. So give your companion the rings and put the highest rank enchantments in that companion gear. So that's your companion. Make sure it's always active and summoned. Next up, artifacts. Artifacts are also important for getting your stats up. Nowadays they take a lot of refinement to level up. So level up the artifacts that you want to keep. There is one artifact that's pretty cheap at the moment, and it's because of the logbox, which is dropping this a lot. So let's say artifacts epic. So this Soulside artifact, see the epic artifacts are quite expensive in here, but the Soulside artifact, where is it? Here it is only 27,000 AD. And if you're a DPS class, the Soulside crystal is actually a very potent artifact with strong artifact power for most DPS classes, let's say like that. Some prefer Wheel of Elements, but you don't go bad by buying this one if you're a DPS class. In case you don't have 4 artifacts, just buy them. It doesn't have to be epic. You can also buy the uncommon versions of the artifacts, or rare, whatever you can afford. Look at the build you picked and go for the ones that are in the build. Rarity is not important at this point. So at this point you should have artifacts, you should have weapons. If you do enough random queues, you have some gear, or you can level up your gear. You have a companion. You should have at least a simple mount, but that's just speed. Mounts only give real power if you have big insignia bonuses. Don't focus too much on that yet. It's not important. The biggest part of your time is going to go in campaigns. Now that we are geared up a bit, it's a good idea to start working on as many campaigns at the same time as your playtime allows. All the campaigns need daily attention, and that's campaigns only, okay. And can take up to 15 minutes up to an hour per day to tend. The newer campaigns have a weekly haul, so you can finish them in 1 week, and then, or not finish the campaign, but finish your progress for 1 week in a day. But the other ones need attention every day. So definitely do that from the start. Campaigns can take very long, and they will be the most time-consuming part of your journey to your goal. For the boons that you get during your campaign progress, just follow the build you picked. You can drift off, but at this point it doesn't really matter that much, and you can always get a retraining token and change the build later on, or make a new loadout and change the build at that point. Campaigns are not all the same difficulty, so there is a kind of order in which you should do them. Tyranny of Dragons, as you can see, you can already start at level 26. You get an in-game mail about it, and I assume you did start it already. The Maze Engine and Elemental Evil, you can start at level 60. Elemental Evil is actually the campaign that should take you from level 60 to level 70. The Maze Engine, you could also have started that. Sharandar, you also should have started at level 64. So maybe you're still busy with these. If you are, maybe finish them first if you don't have extra time. Tyranny of Dragons actually is a 2-step story. At level 70 you continue with Well of Dragons, which continues the story. But let's say you finish these. At that point, you can continue doing actually Dread Ring. And if you're not finished with these, you can also add this one in, I guess. It doesn't take too long to do your daily work in here. It's relatively quick, so you can add this one in as well. It's also one of the lower tier campaigns that doesn't take too much strength. Underdark here, you will actually do in parallel with the other campaigns, because this campaign requires, and I'm going to really mess up this word, Versres, I don't know how to pronounce that one, and you will get this campaign currency while doing, I think, almost all of the other campaigns. They all have demonic heroic encounters, and you can progress automatically in this one. You don't have to focus on this one, just look at it sometimes if you can go up a step. After you finished all of those, the next step up is Icewind Dale. This one is quite a step up from the other ones. If it's too difficult, find someone in your guild to join you, but finish this one first, because the next one is again a step up. It's Cloaked Ascendency. If you feel strong enough and you can do it, maybe do this one also in parallel with Icewind Dale. The next step up is actually Storm King's Thunder, which came before the Cloaked Ascendancy, but this one is more difficult and it takes a lot of time. It's a big grind. There are ways to buy this one, but yeah, it's up to you. This one and the Jungles of Chult you can basically do at the same time. I think they are around the same difficulty. Oh, and I missed Well of Dragons, which is actually in between Icewind Dale and Cloaked Ascendancy. Well of Dragons can be quite difficult if you're still a low level 70, but with the new gear it should be all fine, I guess. There's also a PvP campaign. You have starting PvP and veteran PvP. PvP is personal. You don't have to do it. As a starting player, it is quite demotivating and it will not give item level in the future. I personally, even though I'm a completionist, have not done this yet. I have done a little bit, as you can see here, but it's just not nice. People have really strong PvP builds in there, and if you go in there with your PvE build, you're not gonna have a fun time. You're going to die a lot. So while doing the campaigns, these campaigns here, you will get quite a bit of refinement from your utility enchantments, and make sure to upgrade your gear, in my opinion, in the following priority order. First off, you should work on your weapons, get them up at least to rare, maybe epic if you can. The bonding runestones are very important as on the second spot. You don't have to get them to rank 14 first to go to the next step, of course. It's just priority and do whatever you can. But this is the priority order. Next up, companion enchantments. So the enchantments in these rings, they are also important. After that, weapon and armor enchantments. So I have a dread enchantment in here, and in here I have a soulforge enchantment. Upgrade these as much as you can. Next up is your companion rank. Companion rank also makes your companion a lot stronger. It's not as much as the gear will do, but it helps. And at the legendary status it actually gives some additional bonus on top of the bonding. But it's really expensive, so don't work on that only, it's going to take too long. Next up in my order is artifacts. Level them up as far as you can. As I said, they take a lot of refinement points, so those are going to take a while. The weapons and artifact gear have gotten a lot easier, but yeah, the artifacts take a lot of refinement. Next up is the artifact gear that I just mentioned, the neck and the waist slot. And last but not least is your enchantments. You have a choice to upgrade your utility enchantments a bit first, or go for your offensive and defensive enchantments. The benefit of upgrading your utility enchantments is that if you need less time to get the maximum out of these utility enchantments. If you play a lot, just leave them at rank 5 or 6 and upgrade the other enchantments first. If you only play a little bit each day, try to upgrade these to rank 8 or maybe even 9, so you get the most refinement during your play session. So, that I think wraps it up for a bit. This should give you some guidance on what to do. I hope it helps. If you have any remarks on this video or any suggestions on what to investigate next, feel free to leave a comment below. And don't forget to subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next video.